reporting a lot on SJ this semester, and things with the Senate not having a quorum and some things like that. So in addition to your platforms, we do have some tougher questions for you, but let's start out nice and easy, and if you could just both go over your platform in detail for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to do how we did before, so you want to start off now?
Sure, we can talk about it from the platform.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can
awesome. Okay, so we really based our platform off of tangible items that we knew that were going to be accomplished, as well as little extra items. So Chuck will talk a little bit about our extra items that we not necessarily put on our platform, because the three main points we know that we're going to accomplish, especially within the upcoming months and next upcoming year. The first would be extended library examination hours, so the week prior to exams. So when you're trying to cram in the last minute studying for all those exams or finishing up those projects, that is the time where you can go to the academic based area. Students that are studying the exact same thing or that are in that same area can come. We're one of the only D1 schools that don't have a 24-hour library, so Chuck and I believe that this is the first step to hopefully go to longer hours. And we're also already in the process of speaking with the Dean of Libraries. He's on board with the idea and he's excited to work with us in the future, so we're hoping to implement that in the next upcoming midterm academic year. The second would be the restructuralization of room requests for registered student organizations. We believe that RSOs, Greek lives, and different departments should have first priority behind academics to reserve that process. And talking with a lot of RSOs, we realized that that process is a very long, ongoing issues with a lot of different entities working together. So we'd love to gather some empirical data, bring that back to the correct administrators, and expedite that process so that it's easier for them to either reserve rooms, reserve tabling areas down in the library or the down under. So that will be easier for RSOs to get their name out there and to hopefully meet more regularly so they don't have problems with that.
The third point we're looking at is looking at the academic spaces we have here at Central. But because we're an academic institution, everything we do should be focused on the students. And unfortunately, that's not what I see in place now. And I think the best representation of that is simply if you look at the desks we have in some of our classrooms. And more, are you familiar with those super squeaky, you can't put a laptop and a book on them, or a book in a book desks? I don't think any student would have picked that desk out of the lineup of anything else. So my question is, why do we have those? Last semester into the summer, they actually had a trial of a different series of desks. So we've been in contact with Sue Watt-Smith, who works with the purchasing contracting of desks and those evaluations, as well as, I can't remember the other young lady's name, but she's the one who works with all academic remodeling of spaces. And we're looking at what did those evaluations say, what did students say they wanted in the desk, and then so we can move forward, look at the contract we have and see how we can execute that for desks specifically, but also making sure that when we're looking at academic spaces, that students are at the forefront of thought and not so much, well, let's just do this because it's easy, or let's do this because it's cheap. But if it's not helping our students academically, then why are we doing that? So those are our main 3 points. Those are things we know we will accomplish for students, because we've heard it in spades, and so that's what we know we're going to do. But we also heard a lot of different things from students that we're kicking around playing with, and we're not sure exactly how we can execute. And so one of those things would be the internship credits. And perfect example is the students in our rec department, they have to have a 30-credit internship. Now, throughout this time, they're not at CMU. They are working at another company. They're doing something that has nothing to do with CMU at all. Yet they're still paying that full credit hour, when they're not using any university resources, not using any university instruction time, spaces, or anything, yet they still pay that full credit hour. And I personally think that's a little backwards, because we should be paying for the institution we're using the resources. I completely agree with that. We need to support our university. But if we're not, then I think there should be some sort of reduced fee or reduced cost associated with that. Now, the reason that's not on our platform is because I don't know how that will work. There's a lot of conversations that need to be had, because, again, that's part of the bottom line of the university. And the reality is, if the revenue doesn't come from there, it's going to come from somewhere else. So being very realistic about it, I do want those changes to be reflected, but we need to see how it may adversely affect students first. So that's another thing that we're looking at, amongst other things. But we want to make sure we're keeping an open mind about our platform. So everything that we've done is come completely from students. And so with that, it's ever changing and ever evolving. So if we hear something else that we know students will help a lot of students, and something that students are very passionate about, we're going to make sure we take it up, because we are supposed to be representation of the students.